Did you know there is a theme park in Europe with a dark ride based on Jumanji? Stay tuned to learn where you can find that park, as well as my top 10 want to visit international theme parks. Welcome to Roaming Yeti's Travel Beyond the Guidebook, where we help our busy fellow adventurers maximize their limited vacation time. I'm your host and head Yeti, Beth Scalacci. I'm here to share stories, hidden gems, and insider tips to help you plan trips that are unique and meaningful to you. In each episode, I delve into the world of pop culture destinations, theme parks, roadside attractions, and nostalgic locations. And you know what? We're uncovering their secrets and backstories. Are you ready? Let's roam! Welcome back. This is a very personal episode for me because I don't always love talking about myself, but I figured you should know a little bit about the person behind the microphone. Don't worry, there is information for you here too. I'm going to give you my list of top 10 international theme parks that I want to visit so that you can learn about some new parks and maybe add them to your list as well. So, who is Head Yeti Beth Scalacci? Well, it all started on that day back in... No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to give you my life story. Just some relevant facts. So, fresh out of college with a marketing degree, I did find myself in the tech industry doing sales and marketing. Now, the company I worked for on the East Coast was acquired by a tech company in Silicon Valley, and this was the time period when the internet was becoming mainstream, pretty much thanks to my new employer's browser, the Netscape Navigator. And this meant that research and finding things to do was becoming a lot easier. A group of us had moved to San Francisco. We were new to the area, so we wanted to make the most of our time there. And I often found myself doing a lot of the weekend planning for our group. I was the unofficial Julie McCoy of the group. And we had so much fun. A lot of art festivals, a lot of sightseeing, Alcatraz, you name it, we pretty much did it. Now, the only regret I do have, and I think I've mentioned this before, is we did not make it to the Winchester Mystery House that year. But, you know, it's good to have goals. I can always get back there. But then moving back to the East Coast, I started a marketing company that built websites for companies. And over the years, it evolved to offer online marketing of all types, email marketing, social media, you name it. Oh, and even during that period, I wrote a book on social media as well. But after 25 years of having that marketing company, I am finding myself making the change to Roaming Yeti full time. But enough of the work talk, let's get to the fun stuff. In that time period, I got married, I had a kiddo, and then we became Disney Vacation Club members in 2007. And this really deepened my love for Disney and actually all theme parks. As you've heard me say before, I love theme parks, but I'm not a huge fan of the thrill rides. This is mainly due to motion sickness, thanks pregnancy, a slight fear of heights, and a total dislike of going upside down. But Disney isn't the only place I love or have visited. Due to my husband's work, we've been fortunate to travel to London, Barcelona, several Hawaiian islands, and even Monte Carlo, which was not an expected trip, but we had a ton of fun. We have visited family in Italy. We've been to Paris, and we had an amazing trip to China that you've already heard about in our Adventures by Disney episode. And of course, we have traveled to many places here in the U.S. Now, we are not traveling nomads. We're just like you. We have jobs. We have a lot of life responsibilities. So we like to make the most of our vacations and our away time. We like to find hidden gems and places that the locals go to. In fact, we often ask the bartenders at the hotel we're staying at for recommendations, and in the past, they have not disappointed. Always have found some really, really good food choices. And we like to travel our way, so that may be seeking out attractions or visiting places that others may not find interesting. Yes, that included breweries in Paris and Italy, and actually one in Monte Carlo too. So it's just about finding what interests you, especially in these international cities. I also love a good roadside attraction or a nostalgic stop, which is probably why I love the movie Cars so much. And also, Radiator Springs is one of the best themed areas in all the parks. I love it so much. This is partially due to my marketing background, since roadside attractions were early travel marketing. And I do have an episode on the history of roadside attractions that you might find interesting. If you haven't heard that one, that was from last year. But also, I think this whole nostalgic and roadside attraction is a reason why a Route 66 trip is pretty high up on my to-do list. I'm also a Marvel fan. I Marvel movies. I'm not as up on the comic books as the movies. And I personally can easily spend a day in what they call the glorified hallway known as Avengers Campus in California Adventure. Easily could spend the day there. Have probably spent half a day there, but we'll move on. So why did I start the Roaming Yeti and Travel Beyond the Guidebook podcast? Well, like I've said a million times, I'll say a million more. I'm not an expert traveler. I'm also not a travel advisor. I can't help you book trips. I like to call myself a curious adventurer. I don't have all the answers, but I sure can try to help you find them. I love learning new things and reading about locations and their backstories, and I figured this information might be helpful to you. So I'm sharing it, even though I may never see some of these places. Use my curiosity to your advantage, and then, you know what? Come on as a guest and let me know how it was and share it with the audience. We would love to hear. As far as the podcast, I am a one-woman show. There's so many more moving parts than I knew. I don't highly edit my episodes, which I'm sure you're well aware of. So you're going to get the ums, you're going to get the ahs. But honestly, what I want is for you to feel like you're sitting across from me and we're enjoying a beverage and we're talking about fun places and trips. I do try to spare you the coughs, the sneezes, and the occasional barking dog. And given it's springtime, I try not to record on lawn mowing days here in the neighborhood. But if you've been listening to me for a while now, you know I notoriously mispronounce things all the time. And I've said it before, it's just probably not going to change. So I apologize in advance for that. I'm doing my best. But seriously, you guys are busy and you want to travel your way. And so my goal is to bring you fun locations, backstories, and insider tips that you may not find in the guidebooks so you can make the most of your vacations. And if you think there is someplace I should know about, message me on social media, join our new Facebook group called Roaming Yeti Travel Flurry, or fill out my contact form on theroamingyeti.com. So why did I pick this name, Roaming Yeti? Well, as you know, families are big Disney fans. I was trying to do something that would honor the parks. And there is a Yeti at both Walt Disney World on Expedition Everest and in Disneyland on the Matterhorn. And I just thought it would be a fun nod to those Yetis. The roaming part, well, I tend to roam around the parks. I'm usually looking for details, just taking things in. And these days, just in general, I'm really trying to enjoy the journeys more, rather than always trying to race to the destination. So I think the roaming part is more of a reminder for me than anything else. Now, you may be asking, you've probably seen her, pictures of Addi. Who is Addi? Well, Addi's our mascot and a bit of my alter ego who travels with us, but also goes out on adventures and experiences the world without us and reports back in her field notes. Think of Uncle Traveling Matt from Fraggle Rock. Addi's name is inspired by the Roman goddess Addiona, and Addiona is known as the goddess of safe returns home. And while we all love the travel, a safe return home is essential to every journey, both big and small. All right. That's enough about me. Let's get on to the fun stuff. Let's talk about top 10 international theme parks I want to visit. So I found this list of 100 theme parks on Tour Scanner's website and started going through to see what international parks looked interesting. There were definitely some that piqued my interest and had me creating this list of theme parks around the world that I would love to visit. Now, I'm going to add a disclaimer because high on my list of theme parks I want to visit, as many of you know, is Dollywood, but that's in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. This list is international only, but I just wanted to state that so you knew that I had not forgotten about this park, partially owned by national treasure Dolly Parton. So park number 1 is Tokyo Disney Resort, which includes 2 parks, Tokyo Disneyland and Tokyo Disney Sea. I didn't need to see that list to know that was the top of my list. Tokyo Disney is the one Disney resort we have yet to visit. There's a new section opening up this summer, and everything I've seen and heard about these 2 parks just seems amazing. I'm really looking forward to getting there. I'm going to say that because I'm just I'm manifesting that, okay? Number 2 is, here we go with the pronunciations. Efteling. It's the Netherlands' largest theme park, and it's also known as the World of Wonders. It is the 3rd most visited European park, behind Disneyland Paris and Europa Park in Germany. Now, this park was built in 1952 as a nature park with a playground and evolved into a fantasy-themed amusement park. And its attractions are themed for ancient myths, legends, fairy tales, fables, and folklore. And it is said that Walt Disney himself based some of his Disneyland plans based on a visit to this park. Number 3, Universal Studios Japan. So Universal Japan opened in 2001 and is located in Osaka. So I personally think that if you're going to go all the way to Japan to visit Disney, why not add a couple days to go to Osaka and go to Universal? I know we have a Nintendo World in the States now, but I would love to see the original in Japan. Plus, they still have the Jaws ride, and they have Snoopy. Number 4 is the Tivoli Gardens in Copenhagen. This park opened on August 15th, 1843, and is the 3rd oldest operating amusement park in the world. In addition to the rides, there are a lot of gardens to stroll through and enjoy, and the design styles of these rides, they just look so incredible. The theming and the design, just beautiful. Park number 5 is Prater in Vienna, Austria. This is really interesting and unique to me. So it's this large public park, and it contains an amusement park with attractions and rides within the park. There's no general admission. You pay per ride, sort of like, carnival style and original Disney style. And it just seems like there's so much more to do here than just rides. It looks like a place just full of history and nostalgia and truly unique. Number 6 is Liseberg. It's an amusement park in Gothenburg, Sweden, and it opened in 1923. And it is the largest amusement park in Scandinavia by area. And it just looks like a fun mix of old and new. And like I said, I love the style of these European parks. They're just gorgeous. Number 7, and I sort of teased to this one in the beginning of the episode, Gardaland in Northeast Italy. Yes, theme parks in Italy. The park opened in 1975, and they have a lot of rides of all types, but I am most interested in the dark ride that is based on Jumanji that opened in 2022. It just seems like a really interesting, unique theming, and it's just another reason to go back to Italy too. Let's be honest here. Number 8 is Park Warner in Madrid, and it's relatively new as this park actually opened in 2002. And as you probably know, I love a movie-themed park, And this one is Warner Brothers theme. So a little Looney Tunes, a little DC superheroes, and even Scooby-Doo. So, let's go. We got to check that out. Number 9, I mentioned Europa Park in Germany a little earlier. This park has been family run since 1975, and each of their areas is themed to European countries. Now, this park seems massive in just scope and area. Apparently it has 18 themed areas offering about 100 rides, several shows, and 13 roller coasters. Yeah, that's going to take a couple days to visit, but definitely I think worth putting in there. And 10, it's in France, so I'm going to butcher this name. Puy de Faux, established in 1978. This park is divided into several villages, each representing a different historical period. So you can wander through these villages and experience history coming alive through various shows, demonstration, and reenactments. This thing sounds like a Renaissance fair on absolute steroids, and it seems so cool, so different, and definitely worth checking out. Now, I said 10, but I have a couple interesting runners up. I should have said top 12, but I just need to mention a few more here. The first runner up is Universal Studios Singapore. Now, this may just be a good excuse to go to Singapore, but I'd really like to see how different countries do some of the same theming. Plus, they have this huge aquarium with an area for sharks. I don't know, it seems really interesting, and something I would get into. Second runner up, Port Aventura Park in Spain. This park is very intriguing to me. It has 6 lands themed to locations around the world. So I don't know, maybe like World Showcase at Epcot. I'm not sure, but I love the fact, because it happens in even Disneyland Paris, that European theme any American sort of land as the Wild West. So I would definitely love to see what they did with that. And plus, this park has even Sesame Street characters. It just looks like an overall fun park to check out. So what I want to know is, have you been to any of these parks? Would you put any of these parks on your to visit list? Or did I miss it? Like, what are the ones that are on your list that I didn't mention internationally? Let me know on social media. Again, join our Facebook group, the Roaming Yeti Travel Flurry, and share with the group. The more the merrier. We would love to hear you. I'll talk to you. And I hope that these episodes inspire you to get out and roam and use those vacation days to your fullest. Please follow or subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. And if you like what we're doing here, please tell a friend, and also leave a review and a rating. You can follow me on Instagram or Facebook. Just search for the Roaming Yeti. I'll talk to you soon, and keep roaming.